The Minnesota Vikings have been a perennial playoff team the last handful of seasons under Mike Zimmer, bringing in Kirk Cousins, trying to add pieces here and there to get them over the top. Just this offseason, they've added Bashaud Breeland from the Kansas City Chiefs, Sheldon Richardson, who could be key pieces on defense for them. Joining me now from Locked On Vikings, Luke Braun. And Luke, this is a team, though, that is infamous, I would say, for failing to get over the hump. Why would this year be different?
So I think the reason this year would be different than the other Kirk Cousins years is that they have defensive tackles. Linval Joseph was great. He was great in 2018. He kind of fell away in 2019, and they didn't have him in 2020. And the other guy was like Shamar Stephen for those years, who's not good. Now they have a rotation of Dalvin Tomlinson, Sheldon Richardson, and Michael Pierce, all of whom will cost about the same as 2-star Lutaleles in 2021 cap space. So they have a good rotation of defensive tackles, and everything on defense can kind of move out from there. There's a lot more optimism about the offensive line. They got a couple rookies starting. We just kind of have to wait and see how that turns out. But mostly, I think the big key is that that interior of the defense is going to be really difficult to run inside against. And that means a lot more concepts are going to be that much easier to defend.
Offensively, we saw Justin Jefferson with a breakout rookie season, arguably the best rookie season we've ever seen, and somehow it might not even be the best rookie receiver Viking season, which is pretty crazy. This offense, how could they get better in 2021?
So I think there's two major things holding the offense back for me. One is Kirk Cousins not being a fantastic pressure eraser, and the other is that being exacerbated by a ton of pressure. And if you look at the actual value lost, if you want to go deep into EPA or even just kind of look at it, you can see the amount of pressure did more damage than the severity of the pressure, which kind of tells you fix the offensive line will do more than fixing Kirk Cousins, even though you obviously want to try your best to do both. So I think a better offensive line, better pass protection is kind of the best. It's where there's the most meat on the bone. In terms of actual pass catching weapons, they've got Thielen, they've got Jefferson, Dalvin Cook catching shallow things, catching screens, and both their tight ends. I'm really excited about Irv Smith. Already he had a really good December when Kyle Ruff went out. He had to step up, be tight end number one. He answered that call, and that meant Tyler Conklin had to be tight end two, and he answered that call. So I'm real happy with the skill players. It's just the protection and keeping Kirk Cousins clean.
Let's end on this. If Jordan Love is the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, are the Minnesota Vikings the best team in the NFC North?
Yes, and may God's will be done. Look, I think the Bears have a better argument than the Packers if it's Jordan Love. I just don't believe in Jordan. I mean, look, he can come in and totally ball out, and I'd admit I'm wrong there. But just based off of what we kind of saw in college and what you'd expect after 1 year, he always seemed like a guy that needed two, and I don't think he's finished yet. So if you're putting an unfinished quarterback out there, that'll sink a good roster. But I think the Bears do have a decent argument for that if Fields is the guy that I think he is, and I was super high on him in the draft. So if I'm right about Fields, and I kind of don't want to be, and their defense has lost a couple pieces but still has some exciting, some Eddie Jackson, of course they have Khalil Mack. I think the Bears can put something together, but here's the thing, I bet on the Vikings to win the North back in April, so I'm all in.